Okay, so what being deployed in a pandemic was like. So I know what you're thinking to begin with. Europe's not a real deployment. And I'm inclined to believe you. That's why when you actually get in country, they give you a brief called Yukon deployment. At least it's not Kuwait. So when my unit deployed, I was actually still in Benning doing Jumpy Boy and Bradley Boy stuff. So I only got in when there were about 5-ish months left on the deployment. So my main focus when I got there was get up to speed and get into the groove of things as fast as I could and as effectively as I could. Things were pretty normal while I was there. We went to the field. I went to Bulgaria for about a week. I went to the city a couple times. I was just outside of where we were posted. Turns out the Black Sea is called the Black Sea for a reason. And then COVID hit. And here's the disappointing thing. Nothing really happened. So when I say nothing happened, I mean the only real way my life was affected was my working hours were shifted. We stopped having formations. People started wearing face masks. The gym closed. The MWR closed. 6 feet, the whole shebang. The weird thing though was watching all of it happen from there, all the stuff that was going on here. Because we were basically in this little bubble. I was never more than 500 meters from where I slept at night for the remainder of the deployment. Basically, I just ate, I worked, and then I went to my room and looked at my phone until the next day. Kind of reminded me of a dark time in my past. But my point was, I didn't have to deal with all the stuff that was going on here. No one over there was freaking out over toilet paper, and I wasn't worried about having to leave the house. I wasn't leaving posts to begin with. It almost didn't feel real because the impact was relatively small for us, and just seeing the massive impact that was happening overseas was kind of crazy. It was like watching a horrible movie where you're really rooting for the good guys to win. The funny thing is, I'm actually grateful I wasn't home for COVID during its worst part. Never had to expose myself to crowds. I never had to go to Walmart and fight people over toilet paper. Food was taken care of. I never had to really go buy anything. Like I said, I just ate defect food, worked, and looked at my phone. Not the worst existence at all. I did have a couple trips planned to other parts of Europe, and obviously I had to cancel them last second. But in a twisted way, I never got FOMO because everyone in the entire world was also canceling their summer plans. So, I chalked that up to neither a win nor a loss. And it was wild how just because my days were so monotonous to a degree, and I never left my little bubble, how fast the time just blended into itself. One day felt exactly like the other. I would just blink and it would be the weekend. So really what I'm saying is any complaints I would have or the most exciting changes in my life because of COVID on deployment could all be chalked up to what you would see on the First World Problems subreddit. Things like someone stole my office chair because they needed to sit in a meeting, or I had to sleep in a bunk bed in my mid-20s. In my free time, I usually just looked at my phone, played games on my laptop, and read a lot. But mainly, I just watched an obscene amount of YouTube videos. When I say obscene, I know you're probably thinking, he probably means a lot of YouTube videos. No, I need your thought to be, oh my God, how did this guy watch that many YouTube videos? I did not even know that was possible. Get him help. I watched so many random online lectures on things that I'm pretty sure I'm qualified to have at least an associate's degree and at least 5 subjects. So when I'm on the internet not doing anything productive, I try to at least learn so I don't feel as guilty about spending all my time in front of a screen. So really a lot of my time was spent between this West Texas guy from the 90s explaining different postmodernists and existential thinkers, and then King Cobra JFS talking about Taco Bell, which is where I get the inspiration for my next video that I mentioned, where I'll talk about certain online communities and trends that I think just need to die in a hole forever and never see the light of day again. Or at the very least, stay on there so that I can keep making parody content out of it. But that's probably gonna take me a hot minute because I have no idea what I'm doing. Now, you might be wondering why I didn't shoot any videos while I was over there. Well, there's a few reasons. One, if I wasn't clear enough, 90% of my life was just waking up, eating, going to work, and then going to look at my phone for the rest of the day. And the work I was doing was A, stuff I couldn't even talk about in a video probably, and B, would be the least interesting thing I've ever discussed on camera, ever. The funny thing is, I thought it was interesting, but I know for a fact no one else. But it's one of those things that if you say it out loud, it sounds like the most boring thing on the face of the planet. Also, the only internet I really had was the data on my phone. So laptop Wi-Fi was not really a thing. I did have access to like Wi-Fi at the MWR tent, but it was actually literally slower than the dial-up I had when I was a kid. I did a test upload with the Q&A that I did in Bulgaria, and the internet was so slow, it didn't actually say like when it would be uploaded or time remaining. It just said sometime before the next major extinction event. However, in 2020, that could have meant anything. A huge reason was there was really nowhere I could actually film and not break any rules. As much as I would have loved to film standing in front of random fence posts and metal box buildings that I was standing in front of, filming inside a foreign military base while deployed isn't usually the best thing, especially if it's just for me to talk about like top 10 foods I ate while in Romania. But if you're curious about top 10 foods I ate in Romania, I'll give you the top 3. Number 3 was Claritin. Number 2 was the eggs they served at breakfast. And number 1 was Tylenol PM, because if you're trying to fast forward through things and you want to go to bed at 4 p.m., that's the way to do it. I wish that was more of a joke than it actually was. The last reason is really just a personal reason. I would have been having to half-ass all of the videos. I didn't have any real filming equipment with me. I had my phone, which is okay, but not the best for shooting all of my videos. And then again, it would have been a bunch of stuff I would have bored myself to tears making, and they would have been half-assed, and I would have hated uploading them, and they would not have been good. I do have one funny story I think is worth sharing for a video. And if you're wondering, my criteria for video stories is if I told it at a cocktail party, would it be more interesting than me saying random facts like, did you know that llamas and alpacas are both camelids? Anyway, my story is actually like the 4th day I was in country. We were in the field and I was battle tracking for the battalion for the exercise we were doing, which basically means I'm on the radio tracking where everyone's going. And I get a call on the radio and it said that there is a tractor on the firing line. And when I mean firing line, I mean a firing line of tanks and Bradleys, which for the uninitiated are really good at just killing the hell out of anything. So anyway, I get a call at the radio saying there's a tractor being driven on the firing line. And I call back, are you sure? And they call back, tractor, firing line. And I said, cool, got it. So I ran over to the Romanian soldiers that were with us. And I, in so many words, told them to go get their homeboy before he gets literally annihilated off the face of the planet on accident. And they said, are you sure? And I said, definitely. And so I had to get down on the map and show them exactly where the tractor actually was so they could go get their dude. The whole time I was thinking, though, that while I was kneeling in this map with 2 foreign soldiers pointing and doing all this stuff, it would have made a fantastic recruiting picture because it looked super official if you didn't know that I was trying to keep this dude and his tractor from just not existing anymore. Turns out the guy was actually probably going to go steal our stuff, so good he got caught anyway. But that is the true story of what it was like being deployed, with most of it during a pandemic. Stay tuned for my next video where I complain that people are just butchering philosophy.